Let's get straight to the point. Level 1, the Thrall. You're not even a free man yet. You're 14 years old, and you belong to a Jarl the way a horse belongs to a Jarl. Useful until you're not. Your job is to carry, haul, load, and shut your mouth. You drag longships down to the water on log rollers, pack dried cod and hard bread into the hull, and bail water when the sea comes in over the strakes. Your hands bleed. Nobody notices. Compensation is simple. You eat what's left, you sleep under the overturned boat, and you don't get beaten today. That's the full package. A thrall named Ulf once dropped a cask of mead into the fjord during loading. The Jarl didn't say a word. He just looked at the other thralls. Ulf swam for the cask. The water was near freezing. He retrieved it. He didn't complain. Nobody did. The risk at this level isn't dramatic. It's cumulative. Cold, exhaustion, infection from a cut that never heals. You don't die in glory. You just stop being useful. But you're watching everything. How the free men move, how they talk to each other, how the Jarl's eyes work. There's a raid being planned, and they're going to need more than thralls to pull it off. Level 2, the Karl. You're 17, and someone, a distant cousin, a neighbor who owed your father, has vouched for you. You're a free man now. Technically, you own a wool tunic, a sayax knife with a 6-inch iron blade, and a round shield made of linden wood with a center boss that'll stop a spear if you hold it right. You've been told to hold it right. The Karl is the backbone of every raiding party. The man who rows, fights, carries plunder, and asks no questions about where it came from. You row in shifts of 4 hours on, 4 hours off, across open water that doesn't care about you at all. The North Sea in late spring is gray and cold and enormous. Your oar weighs 12 pounds. You pull it 10,000 times a day. The man across from you has done this 11 times. He doesn't talk much. One morning, 3 days out, a storm hits and the ship bucks like a living thing. You're bailing with a wooden bucket while the man next to you vomits over the side and keeps rowing. You keep rowing too. You don't know what else to do. Pay is a share of whatever gets taken, roughly 1 part in 40 of the total haul. On a good raid, that's enough silver to buy a cow. On a bad one, it's a handful of hack silver and a bruised rib. The risk is drowning before you even reach the coast, but the coast is getting closer. Level 3, the steersman's mate, the styromater's shadow. You're 21 and you've survived 2 raids. That alone puts you ahead of a third of the men who started with you. The styromater, the steersman, has noticed that you pay attention. You watch the watercolor change from deep blue to green-gray when the shelf shallows. You know what a rip current looks like from the surface. You've learned to read the sky the way other men read runes. Your job now is to assist with navigation, manage the sail rigging, and relay the styromater's orders to the rowers. You also keep the ship's log, a mental record because nothing is written down. Distances, landmarks, tidal patterns, the location of the sandbar that nearly killed you off the Northumbrian coast last autumn. Your compensation jumps to 1 part in 20 of the haul. You sleep near the stern, which is drier. You eat with the senior men. A Jarl from a neighboring settlement once tried to poach you mid-voyage, offering a full share and a silver arm ring. The styromater found out. He didn't threaten you. He just said, very quietly, that men who leave a ship mid-voyage sometimes fall overboard in calm weather. You stayed. The risk here is knowledge. You know the routes, the timing windows, the hidden coves. That makes you valuable. Valuable men attract attention from people who want what they know. Level 4, the Drengr. You're 24, and you've earned a reputation. The word means something between warrior and man of honor. A man who has proven himself in the shield wall and hasn't run. You carry a proper axe now. A bearded axe with a head that weighs 2 pounds and a haft, wrapped in leather cord. You also carry a spear, 6 feet of ash with an iron tip, which is your primary weapon because it keeps you alive longer than the axe does. In the shield wall, you lock your lindenwood shield with the man to your left, overlap it with the man to your right, and push. The noise is extraordinary. Wood on wood, iron on iron, men screaming in 3 languages. You've learned to breathe through it. You've learned that the man who breaks formation first usually dies first. On a raid near the mouth of the Seine, a Frankish soldier got through the line and put a knife into the man beside you. You closed the gap before the line could collapse. You don't remember deciding to do it. Your body just moved. Afterward, the Jarl gave you a silver brooch taken from a monastery. It's worth more than your father earned in 5 years of farming. You wear it on your cloak. Your share of the haul is now 1 part in 15. You have a small house. You have a wife. You have a son you've seen 4 times. The risk is the shield wall itself. Statistically, the Drengr is the rank where most men die. You're in the middle of the machine, and the machine is violent. Level 5, the Hersir. You're 29, and the Jarl has given you command of 12 men. The Hersir is a local chieftain, a man of property who leads his own contingent within the larger raiding party. You recruited these men yourself, some from your village, 2 from a debt you called in, 1 who simply showed up and looked capable. You're responsible for their equipment, their morale, and their performance. If they break and run, that's on you. If they steal from the wrong man in the wrong port, that's on you. You now own a brynja, a mail shirt of interlocking iron rings, roughly 25,000 of them, each one riveted by hand. It weighs 25 pounds and stops most blades. It cost you 3 years of raiding shares. You also own a sword, a pattern-welded blade with a grip wrapped in ray skin. You don't use it to show off. You use it because it's faster than an axe in close quarters. Your share of the haul is now 1 part in 8, plus a separate allocation for your men's equipment costs. After a successful raid on a coastal settlement in what the locals call Ireland, you come home with enough silver to buy land, hire 2 thralls, and build a proper longhouse with a smoke hole that actually works. Your wife is pleased, your neighbors are watching, the Jarl is watching too. That's the part that keeps you up at night. Level 6, the Lendmann. You're 34, and you've crossed from warrior to administrator, though nobody uses that word because it would get you killed. The Lendmann is a landed nobleman, a man who holds territory in the Jarl's name and owes him military service in return. You manage 3 villages. You collect tribute, grain, livestock, labor, and pass the appropriate portion up the chain. You keep the rest. You settle disputes between farmers, which mostly means listening to 2 men yell at each other and then deciding who's lying more convincingly. You maintain a small household guard of 8 Drengr, paid from your own pocket. You still raid, but now you fund your own ship. A 60-foot longship costs the equivalent of 200 cows to build and equip. You own one. It's called Ormrin, the Serpent. The Jarl calls on you twice a year for military service. You provide it without complaint, because the Jarl's goodwill is the only thing standing between you and the 3 other Lendmenn who would happily absorb your territory. A neighboring Lendmann named Sigurd made the mistake of arriving late to a muster with half his promised men. The Jarl redistributed his land before Sigurd's ship reached the harbor. The redistribution was efficient. Sigurd was not consulted. You are never late. The risk at this level is political. You're powerful enough to be a threat, not powerful enough to be untouchable. That gap is where men disappear. Level 7, the Jarl. You're 41, and you hold the title that men have been dying to give you for a decade. Jarl. The word means earl, chieftain, the man at the top of the local hierarchy. You control a territory of roughly 2,000 people, a fleet of 4 longships, and the loyalty of 6 Lendmenn, each of whom is watching you the way you once watched the Jarl above you. Your income is substantial, tribute from your territory, a Jarl's share of every raid conducted under your banner, 1 part in 4 of the total haul, plus gifts from merchants who want safe passage through your waters, and gifts from Jarls who want your alliance. You hold a thing twice a year, a public assembly where free men bring disputes and you render judgment. The judgments are final. You've had 2 men outlawed, declared needing, without honor, outside the protection of law. 1 of them left, 1 of them didn't. You handled the second one personally, because some messages need to be delivered by the Jarl himself. Your hall is the largest building in the territory, 40 meters long, with a fire pit running the full length, and enough benches to seat 200 men for a feast. You feast often. Generosity is not optional. A Jarl who doesn't feed his men is a Jarl who wakes up dead. You haven't slept a full night in 3 years. Every alliance is a potential betrayal. Every gift is a potential obligation. Every son of every Lendmann is a potential rival. The Norwegian king has been sending messengers. That's never just a courtesy. Call. Level 8, the Konungur. You're 47, and the word is king. Not the king of a unified nation, that concept is still being invented, but the king of a region, a sea lane, A network of Jarls who have sworn oaths to you and mean it until they don't. You came to this through a combination of military victory, strategic marriage, and the timely deaths of two rivals whose timelines you may or may not have accelerated. The historians will be vague on this point. You don't raid anymore. You don't need to. You tax the raiders. Every longship that operates in your waters pays a toll. Every merchant who trades in your ports pays a levy. Every Jarl who holds land under your name pays tribute in silver, men, and ships. Your income is measured in hundreds of pounds of silver per year. You have a household guard of 60 hired men, professional warriors who eat at your table, sleep in your hall, and would die for you, which is convenient because that's exactly what you need them to do. The Norwegian king, the actual king, the one with a crown and a claim to divine right, has sent an ambassador. He wants you to convert to Christianity, swear fealty, and stop raiding his coastal allies. The ambassador is very polite. You are also very polite. You tell him you'll consider it. You have no intention of considering it, but you keep the ambassador comfortable because killing ambassadors creates paperwork. The risk at this level is total. Your sons are watching you age. Your Jarls are calculating. The king to the south has a fleet. You have built something enormous and fragile, and you know, because you've watched it happen to other men, that the machine doesn't protect its builders. Level 9, the end. You're 54, and the fever has been in your chest for 3 weeks. Not a sword, not a rival's axe, not a storm at sea. A fever, the way most kings actually go, which is the detail the skalds will quietly omit from the saga. Your eldest son is already holding court in your hall. He's been holding court for 6 months. You've been watching him do it from the high seat, and he's better at it than you were at his age, which is either a comfort or a threat depending on the hour. The herd men have shifted their eyes, not dramatically, just slightly. The way men's eyes shift when they're calculating the new center of gravity. You've done it yourself. You know exactly what it means. The territory you built from a single ship and a borrowed sword will outlast you by centuries, change hands a dozen times, get absorbed into kingdoms that don't exist yet, and eventually become a footnote in a history written by monks who didn't like you. The silver you accumulated is already being divided. The alliances you forged are already being renegotiated. Somewhere down by the water, a boy of 14 is loading dried cod into a longship hull. His hands are bleeding. Nobody is noticing. He's watching the free men move. He's learning how the Jarl's eyes work. The machine doesn't stop. It just finds new parts.